Om Agyantimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurummilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutaha Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathamritam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhamritamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhano Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo Rama Ramo Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. I'd like to welcome all of you all to our Gita classes. We are on the first verse of the first chapter of the Gita. We're continuing from where we started last time. If you remember, we discussed the first verse. In fact, we discussed the first word of the first verse, the last whole session. So today's session, we'll be going a little further and we'll be discussing the first sentence of the first verse of the Gita. So we spent a last whole session on discussing the first word of the Gita. And today we're going to spend one whole session on discussing the first sentence of the Gita. Actually, Gita is so deep that we can just go on and on and on and on like this. But don't worry, I'm not going to torture you all so much. So we will be going quite fast as we go ahead. But the first few verses, just to acquaint you all with the mood of the Gita and the depth of the Gita, I'm trying to go a little slower so that you also get acquainted to it and you also understand how deep every word of the Gita is. And that is when our respect for the Gita will actually increase so much more. So today we will discuss this verse and discover some amazing things through this particular verse. As I said, as I'm chanting the verses, you can also chant along with me so that you get acquainted with the Sanskrit of the Gita and the meter with which the Gita verses are chanted. Dhritarashtra uvacha Dharmakshetre Kurukshetre Samaveta Yuyutsavaha Mamaka Pandavaschaiva Kim Akurvata Sanjaya. So in this verse, Dhritarashtra is asking a question to Sanjay. Dharmakshetre Kurukshetre Samaveta Yuyutsavaha. In Dharmakshetra, which is known as Kurukshetra, what did my sons and the sons of Pandu do? They assembled together with a desire to fight, but what did they do? That's Dhritarashtra's question. So let us look at the Bhagavad Gita through syllables. And I'm going to tell you something that will blow your minds. Here is a very interesting fact about the Bhagavad Gita. The Bhagavad Gita starts, the first syllable of the Bhagavad Gita is dha. The word dha or the syllable dha is the first syllable. Dhritarashtra uvacha. Dha. Dharmakshetre Kurukshetre. Dha. So the first syllable of the Gita is dha, right? And what is the last syllable of the Gita? The last syllable of the Gita is ma. the last verse of the Bhagavad Gita is Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, Yatra Partho Dhanurdaraha, Tatra Shri Vijayor Bhutir, Dhruva Nitir Matir Mama. So the last syllable of the Gita is Ma. The first syllable is the, and the last syllable is Ma. And the between 698 verses in between represent Ra. And therefore the whole Gita is about Dharma. The entire Gita is about teaching us what is Dharma. The moment you hear the word Dharma, many things come in your mind. Often, the word Dharma is connected with religion. A lot of people translate the word Dharma as religion. So now, obviously, if you ask what is your Dharma, what is your religion, people say Hinduism, is my religion. But what exactly is the meaning of the word Dharma? What exactly does it mean? Does it really mean religion? Religion is a very loose translation of the word Dharma. It's a very superficial translation of the word Dharma. But the actual translation of the word Dharma, it actually refers to what is known as constitutional duties. So there are two types of duties that one does. They call as two types of dharmas. The first type of duty is what is known as one's occupational duty. Like somebody could be a soldier. Like here in this particular aspect, we find Arjun is a soldier, right? So his dharma is Kshatriya dharma. Kshatriya dharma means administrator, soldier, warrior, protector, ruler, so on and so forth. So the one level, the word dharma means occupational duties. But on another level, so I'm talking at three different levels of what the word dharma means, okay? The first level I said is the topmost level which people think it is religion. That's a very superficial way of looking at dharma. You go a little deeper, dharma refers to one's occupational duties. But if you go much deeper, there is another meaning of the word dharma. The deeper meaning of the word dharma is one's inseparable quality. That is known as dharma of that object. Like for example, just to help us understand this better, what is the dharma of sugar? The dharma of sugar is to be sweet. Can you find sweetless sugar? Is there something called sweetless sugar? Not possible. If sweet is not there in sugar, it is not sugar. Because the dharma of sugar is sweet. So dharma means that property which you cannot take away from that object. Like for example, what is the dharma of salt? The dharma of the salt is to be salty. Now, if something is not salty, it's not salt. As simple as that, That which gives the inseparable quality to that object is called the dharma of that object. Like for example, the dharma of chili is to be pungent, to be spicy. Without being pungent and spicy, chili has no meaning. It loses its dharma, right? Nowadays, you get a lot of these hybrid varieties. Bite the chili also, nothing happens. No spice at all. No taste at all in it, And that's why the dharma of these objects are very, very different from, what they, like for example, there is a whole species of roses today, which is known as Chinese roses. I don't know if you ever heard of it. You go to the market, in flower market, you'll understand what it is. Chinese roses, and interestingly, none of these Chinese roses have any fragrance. You put them inside your nose also, you won't get any smell. Absolutely no fragrance. The the constitutional nature of that object is smell, is fragrance, right? But if that fragrance only is missing, then that object loses its constitutional nature. And that's why it is so very important that we understand what is the dharma of all of us. What is our dharma? There is a very beautiful verse that actually describes what our dharma is. It says, Jivera Swarupa hoy, Krishnera Nityadas. The Swarupa or the Jiva Swarupa, Jivera Swarupa hoy. The actual constitutional position of a living entity is to be an eternal servant of Krishna. That is the Swarupa of the living entity. That's missing, then everything is missing. Let me tell you a story to explain this. There was once a king, and this king had 4 wives. He was on his deathbed, literally on the last stage of his life. And he called these 4 wives one by one. And he told them, I'm dying. Will you come with me to my next destination, next life, wherever I'm going? The first wife told him, I'm waiting for you to die. As soon as you die, I'll go to somebody else. This guy was shocked because he loved his first wife so much. First wife and actually last wife. The third wife, he called her and he told her, will you please come with me to my next destination? I'm about to die now. The third wife told him, no. At max, I can come with you till the doorstep. Beyond the doorstep, I can't come. You have to go on your own only. And then this king felt really bad. And then he called the second wife and he asked her, will you come with me to my next destination? She told him that I will come with you till your funeral fire. That's all. After that, I can't come with you. Then after that, you're on your own. And the first wife, whom he had always neglected, he said, at least let me ask her. I'm sure she'll say no because I treated her so badly all my life. But let me ask. So he asked his first wife. He asked her, will you come with me after I die? She said, of course. Wherever you go, I'll come with you. How many ever lifetimes you take, I'll still come with you. And he was so amazed that he neglected her the most. And she was the one who decided to come with him, furthest. We're all like this king. And we all have 4 wives. For those who are women, you can assume that you have 4 husbands. So, what do these 4 wives represent? What do these 4 queens represent? These 4 queens represent 4 very important aspects of life that we consider to be our most powerful assets. The 4th wife, who said that, as I'm waiting for you to die. As soon as you die, I'll go to somebody else. She represents our wealth. As soon as you die, your money is somebody else's money. As soon as you die, your money becomes inheritance. Imagine, you work so hard to earn, and suddenly, the moment you are dead, she's gone. Gone to somebody else. After dying, you can't say, "Arey, that is my money." She doesn't stay with you anymore. Irrelevant to you. The second wife, or rather the third wife, who told him that I will only come to the door of your house, she represents all our relatives. That is the extent to which they can come. They won't come any further. Till you are there, your body is inside the house and all that, there will be a lot of crying. And as soon as your body leaves the house, yeah. They'll be busy drinking tea, coffee, and their life continues, basically. The second wife that told him that I'll come with you till the crematorium represents his body. This body will travel with us only till the crematorium. After that, this body is gone. It will be burned to ashes. And the first wife that he neglected the most represents the Paramatma, the spirit soul, the little aspect of God that is within us. And the Paramatma is our constant companion, life after life. And unfortunately, we neglect the Paramatma totally. Why? And why do we neglect the Paramatma? Because we forget what is the Dharma of the soul. What is the Dharma of the soul? Jivera Swarupa hoy, Krishnera Nityadas. We're all supposed to be attached to this first wife. We're all supposed to be very attached to this most important aspect of our life, which is our constitutional position, our connection with God. But unfortunately, we forget that connection with God. Therefore, Bhagavad Gita is a book that will remind you of your connection with God. Therefore, the Bhagavad Gita begins with the word Dharma. Dharmakshetra, Kurukshetra. It begins with the word Dharma because the purpose of the Bhagavad Gita is to remind you of that which you have forgotten and neglected. No other book in the world reminds us right from the first word itself that your life is to be centered around Dharma. And Dharma is not religion. Dharma is not your occupational duties of being a teacher or a lawyer or an engineer or a doctor. That's not what Dharma is. Dharma is your constitutional position of you being an eternal servant of God. And that is the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita. Dhritarashtra, in his, if you look at this, the words that Dhritarashtra uses, Dharmakshetra, Kurukshetra. So he is using two words, rather four words to describe one place. Dharmakshetra. Kshetra means field, right? Kshetra means field. Dharmakshetra means the field of religion. The field of your constitutional duties. And Kurukshetra refers to the actual place where the battle happened. It's very interesting. A lot of people, when they talk about the Mahabharata, they actually speculate so much. Like, for example, there's one interpretation, very interesting interpretation. It's actually a misinterpretation, not an interpretation. So it says, Kuru, the word Kuru stands for to do. Like in Hindi, it says Kar. Kar means what? Do it. Do it. So Kuru stands for to do. Just like Kar stands for, from Kar comes Kuru. This is the misinterpretation, right? So Kurukshetra, Kshetra means body and Kuru means work. And the Pandavas, the 5 Pandavas represents the 5 senses. Knowledge acquiring senses and working senses. And Lord Krishna is the soul, that is you. And then, so the interpretation here is that you are God. So look at the way they misinterpret. It says that Kurus, the Kauravas, stand for doing work. And there are 100 different works, right? All of us have 100 different actions, 100 different activities to do. That's how the 100 Kauravas represent. And the 5 Pandavas represent using your 5 senses to do that work. And Krishna represents the soul which is within you. The soul is inside the body. And the soul is inspiring the body to do a lot of work. And that's what Bhagavad Gita is. That's what the whole Mahabharata is. This is called as misinterpretation. Srila Prabhupada makes it very easy for us. He helps us understand that Kurukshetra is an actual place. You don't have to interpret it so much. You don't have to misinterpret it so much. There are so many people who misinterpret the Gita like mad. And Sanskrit lends itself to misinterpretation simply because that language is so rich that you can twist it and turn it in any way and get meaning out of it. Like, let me give you a very interesting explanation. There's a very beautiful sloka. It says, listen to this sloka carefully, okay? It says, Keshavam patitam drishtva Pandava harsha nirbara Rudanti Kaurava sarve ha ha Keshava Keshava. That's what this verse is, okay? Let me explain what this verse means. Keshavam patitam drishtva. One meaning of this verse is Keshav is another meaning, another name of Krishna, right? Keshavam patitam. Patitam means fall. Drishtva means see. Keshavam patitam drishtva, seeing Krishna fall dead. Pandava harsha nirbara. Pandavas became happy. Seeing Krishna fall dead, Pandavas became happy. Rudanti Kaurava sarve. And the Kauravas are crying like anything, saying, ha ha Keshava Keshava. Kauravas are crying like anything, saying, oh, Keshava is dead, Keshava is dead. Does this verse make sense to you all? Is there any chance that the Pandavas will celebrate when Krishna is dead and the Kauravas will cry that Krishna is dead? Does it make any sense? It doesn't. Because that's not what this verse means actually. This verse means something else only totally. And it has no connection with Mahabharata, by the way. Those who don't understand how to really take guidance for understanding these verses and the mood behind these verses end up studying or understanding the wrong interpretation. You know what this verse actually means? Let me explain it now in a different way. Keshavam patitam drishtva. The word Keshavam here actually is made up of two letters, two words. K and Shava. The word K means water. And Shava means dead body. And it says, Keshavam patitam drishtva. It means seeing the dead body fall inside water. Pandava harsha nirbara. The word Pandava also refers to fishes. When a dead body fell into the water, the fishes became very happy. Why? They're getting to eat food, basically. Dead body is food for the fishes. And Rudante Kaurave Sarve. Here, the word Kaurava also refers to crow. The word for another meaning of the word Kaurava is crows. Rudanti Kaurava Sarve. All the crows started crying. Ha ha Keshava Keshava. Hey, dead body is gone, dead body is gone. Gone means what? They have lost it. And the fishes have gained it. So the crows are sad and the fishes are happy. Now, if anyone who doesn't understand the second meaning reads this verse and does a literal translation of this verse, they will totally misunderstand the meaning of it. And therefore, all specific religious, dharmic scriptures have to be read under guidance. And therefore, when we read the scriptures under the guidance of great devotees like Srila Prabhupada, we understand it more thoroughly. Prabhupada is amazing. If you read this verse of the Gita, Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita as it is, all of you all have it, right? After today's session, I want you all to read the translation and purport of this verse that Prabhupada gives in the Gita. He's so amazing. He knows that there are people who are like this, all misinterpreting the verses. You know what Prabhupada writes in the purport? Prabhupada actually writes, Kurukshetra is a station near Delhi. And he actually gives a distance between Delhi and Kurukshetra. And he says, if you go to that particular station, you get down in Kurukshetra station, and then you go, you will find a tree over there, under which Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita. Now you might wonder, why is Prabhupada writing all these things in the purport? He's writing to tell us, all of us, he's trying to tell us, don't think Kurukshetra is a mental speculation. Don't think Kurukshetra is a made-up place. It is a fictional place. It is the actual place which has a railway station named Kurukshetra, and he is giving the distance from Delhi to Kurukshetra in kilometers. Just to tell us, don't fall for these misinterpretations. That's what Prabhupada is trying to say. So, Kurukshetra is a very, very powerful place. And if you actually look at it from an archaeological point of view also, there are so many archaeological artifacts that are found today, revealing the place, revealing the area of Kurukshetra, revealing the place where the Mahabharata took place, revealing the place where Hastinapur existed, and so on and so forth. In fact, there is that tree under which Krishna spoke the Gita to Arjuna. That tree, of course, that tree is not exactly in the same tree, but it's descendant in the same place where that tree existed. And that is why when we study the Gita, when we study any of our scriptures, the most important thing that we have to learn is do not misinterpret the text of the scriptures. Misinterpretation is a big sin. And therefore, a lot of people who consider themselves to be scholars, just because they know Sanskrit, do not understand that Sanskrit is like gold. Gold can be melted and you can form any shape from it, right? Sanskrit is exactly like gold. Somebody can stretch it and make it into beautiful jewelry. Somebody can make it into a brick. Somebody can make it into a ring. Anything can be made from gold. Similarly, Sanskrit, it can be misinterpreted in so many ways. And therefore, it is so very important to hear it from the right parampara. Parampara means disciplic succession. Gita is not yours or mine. Gita is Krishna's. And therefore, to understand Krishna's Gita, we really need the help of people who are connected with Krishna through a chain of disciplic succession. That's what is called parampara. And that knowledge is considered to be genuine, authentic knowledge. It is not about scholarship. It is not about your intelligence. It is not about your ability to interpret. It is about understanding it through the right channel. Why does Dhritarashtra use the word Dharmakshetra to define or to speak about Kurukshetra? The reason Dhritarashtra uses the word Dharmakshetra is because that place is a place where so many sages have practiced dharma, have practiced intense meditation, tapasya. As soon as we practice dharma in any particular place, that place becomes Dharmakshetra. Dharma is service to God. When you serve the Lord at your home can become Dharmakshetra. When you practice intense spiritual practices, chanting of the holy names, hearing classes, worshipping the deities, doing arati, any kind of dharmic practices done in any place, that place becomes Dharmakshetra. It is not that Dharmakshetra is there only one place, Kurukshetra. Baaki sab jagah adharma hi hai. No. Any place can become a Dharmakshetra, provided dharmic practices happen there. The place is also called Dharmakshetra because the one who is the master of dharma, the father of dharma, is present there. Krishna is the father of dharma. And because he is the father of dharma, he is the one who is making the place so powerfully potent. There's a very beautiful verse that says, Tavad raga dayastena, Tavad kara graham graham, Tavan moha nigado, Yavat Krishna natejanaha. It says, Tavad raga dayastena. He says, a place where Krishna is missing. Yavat Krishna natejanaha. A place where Krishna is missing. What happens? It says, Tavad raga dayastena. It means the relatives, or rather the place, it leads you to intense attachments. It leads you to intense passion. When Krishna is missing, passion increases there. And says, Tavat kara graham graham. And that home, it actually becomes like a prison. Why it becomes a prison? Because it shackles you in many ways. A lot of people get so attached to their homes. Very dangerous to be attached to one's place, property, things, anything, any kind of attachment is considered to be very dangerous, because it binds you so badly that you want to come back again and again to the same place in some other form many times. So many of the cockroaches and rodents roaming around in different houses, don't think they're not part of the house. They probably may be owners of the house in their previous life. They're so attached to that house, they come back again, and this time they get killed in their same house. And then it says, Tavan moha angri nigano. It says that this kind of attachment, it is born out of illusion. Dharma, it breaks illusion. Adharma, it creates illusion. Bhagavad Gita is spoken on Dharmakshetra, on this battlefield of Kurukshetra. And the battlefield is called Dharmakshetra because it is like a field. And what happens in a field? A field is a place where you grow good crops, and the farmer plucks out weeds, isn't it? If you go to a field, two things happen simultaneously. Good crops, seeds get sown, and weeds get pulled out. Any farm where the second thing doesn't happen, the farm won't last. Crops won't grow because the weeds eat up all the water that is meant for the seed. Therefore, the farmer has to do both the things simultaneously. Plant the right seed, pull out the wrong weed. So Krishna is in Dharmakshetra. And what is he doing? He's a farmer there. He's planting the seeds of Dharma. He's planting the seeds of good people, the Pandavas. And he's plucking out the seeds of the weeds of Kauravas. And therefore, Dharmakshetra is considered a very, very powerful place, because Dharmakshetra is a place that opens up a lot of perspectives. Place makes a very big difference in our lives. Place gives you stability to the mind. Place gives a lot of security, a sense of security to the heart. Place gives a sense of comfort to the body. Therefore, the place that you stay in should be chosen very carefully, because that place is going to have a lot of influence on who you are. And therefore, it is so very important to be conscious of the place in which you stay. When I'm saying conscious of the place in which you stay, it doesn't mean that, I'm not talking about staying in Dadar or Borivali or Kandivali. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the environment. I'm talking about the environment that you create in the place. I don't know whether I told you all this, but there's a very beautiful thing I read a couple of days back. this is actually a very interesting thought that all of us should actually put in our minds about the purity of the place where we stay, or how do you keep the place where you stay. A turtle, or these tortoises, right? These turtles, sea turtles, have a very interesting habit. When they walk on a beach, I mean, they have four legs, right? They walk on a beach, naturally they have small, tiny footsteps get formed, right? On the sand. The turtle has a very interesting habit, it seems. It has a tail, tiny tail. The tail comes out from behind and wags like this. And when the tail is wagging, it cleans up its footprints. So as the turtle walks ahead, no footprint is seen at the back, because the tail is cleaning it up constantly. It is recommended. That is how you should keep your place. That means after you have stayed in a particular place and you go out of that room should feel that you have never stayed only. It should be so clean. It should be kept so spotlessly clean. My teacher, Radhanath Swami, he does this meticulously. Wherever he stays, many times we found him, after he has packed up, his bag is taken off, he doesn't come out so soon. And one time, one of our devotees walked in back in to see what he's doing. And he was actually sitting there and cleaning the place. And they were shocked to see him actually clean the place. And, I mean, all of us have stayed in different places, right? You stay in a hotel and you stay in different people's houses or wherever. When you're leaving, do you actually think of cleaning the place and leaving? When we come to stay there, we think of cleaning the place so that we stay there nicely. But after we finish staying, when we're leaving, we leave it as dirty as possible. Because now it's not our concern anymore, right? It's not really our concern. Why? Because I'm not going to be there. But the way you deal with your place, or any place that you stay, or any place that you use, it's actually the way you deal with your mind. So do not think that the environment outside doesn't influence the environment inside. And do not think that the environment inside doesn't influence the environment outside. The room in which we stay is a reflection of our mind. You walk into anybody's house, walk into anybody's room, just one look at the room, you understand what is the state of that fellow's mind. That's the reality. and you go to some of the, I travel a lot, and I go to some places, and I get a shock when I see some people's rooms. I really understand how messed up their mind is. How so messed up the mind is. And therefore, do not think that Bhagavad Gita starts randomly with this idea of Dharmakshetra, Kurukshetra. It is actually talking about your space. Is your space Dharmakshetra? Is your space in the right mood, the right level of cleanliness? Einstein has a very interesting theory where Einstein, I'm sure you must have heard of this, particle nature and wave nature. There are two types of natures. Particle nature and wave nature, that means everything has a wave form and a particle form. Let me explain with the help of a simple example. Suppose you have somebody who is acting in a movie or in a serial or whatever, or say for example a news anchor. There's a video camera that is shooting him or her, and that person is speaking. So that person is particle, right? It's a physical thing. You can touch, feel. It's actually a physical particle. But the video, when it is captured and is stored in that camera, And from that camera, when that video is transmitted to another satellite, that particle now becomes a wave, right? To transmit that particle by a wire, you need to convert that particle into a wave, isn't it? And that same wave, when you transmit it through a television transmitter, and then after that it receives by an antenna, it receives by a receiver, then an antenna, then it finally comes into your television. Again, it manifests as particle nature, isn't it? So it was particle, it becomes a wave, then it becomes a particle again. That's exactly how everything works. Our consciousness creates waves, and those waves manifest in particle, in reality, in our lives. That means if your consciousness is a very bad consciousness, that bad consciousness will appear around you in the form of uncleanliness. It will appear around you in the form of unorganized behavior. It will appear around you in the form of bad habits. It will appear around you in so many obnoxious ways. At the same time, if you clean your environment outside, the cleanliness, the particle nature outside converts into a wave nature inside. It starts influencing the way you think. It starts influencing your thought process, the vibrations. And therefore, it is so very important to understand that when Krishna is bringing up, when the Bhagavad Gita is starting with this point, Dharmakshetra, Kurukshetra, Dhritarashtra is asking Sanjay a question. You know what his question is? His question is Dharmakshetra influencing my sons? Is the vibrations of Dharmakshetra influencing my sons? Is the vibration of Dharmakshetra influencing the Pandavas? He wants to know whether his sons who are adharmic, by the influence of Dharmakshetra, have become suddenly dharmic, changed their nature. And the Pandavas who are always dharmic, by the influence of Kurukshetra, Dharmakshetra, have they become detached that they don't want to fight? Look at this guy. Look at his thought process. He is not an ordinary person. I mean, you might think that, what a stupid question to ask. Two people, two armies, they come together in front of each other in a battle to, with the desire to fight. What will they do? They'll do dandiya. They'll obviously fight only, right? So why is he asking such a question? He's not a dumb guy. He's not a stupid guy. He's a very smart person because he understands the science of place. He understands that the place has the power to influence people's minds. He understands that the place has the power to change, transform people's hearts. And therefore, he understands that an adharmic person, when he goes to a Dharmakshetra, there is a very good chance that there will be a transformation if he allows it to happen. He wants to know, my stubborn sons, have they allowed the transformation to happen? He is very confident of his sons, but at the same time, he knows the power of the place. And therefore, we shouldn't take places for granted. We shouldn't take the power of places for granted. Why is it recommended that one should visit holy places? Simply because the environment in which all of us live is not exactly holy. What makes an environment holy? The environment becomes holy by the power of collective consciousness. It is not individual consciousness that makes an environment holy. It is the power of collective consciousness that makes an environment holy. Why do these holy places have such powerful vibrations in them? Because thousands and millions of people in the past have invested time in that place doing powerful spiritual activities, and the collective consciousness of those thousands of pure intentions makes that place powerful and holy. Don't think every place will have the same vibrations. You actually will understand it. If you ever go to Vrindavan in your life, of course, you go to Vrindavan in the association of devotees. If you go to these holy places in the association of devotees, the moment you step in the right consciousness, the place hits you so hard. The consciousness, the power of that, the vibrations of that place hits you so hard. And you immediately understand this is different. And the same thing happens when you enter a casino. The moment you step into a casino, the power of the vibrations of that place hits you so hard, you understand this place is dangerous. Because the collective consciousness is of selfishness there. The collective consciousness is of exploitation there. The collective consciousness is of how I can, whoever comes in, how I can loot this fellow. When that is the collective consciousness of that place, the moment you enter that place, you get influenced by that consciousness. And then when you come across holy places where the collective consciousness is so powerfully potent, the moment even an adharmic person like Duryodhana enters that place, he gets influenced. Whether he chooses to transform or not is his choice. But the fact that Dharmakshetra can influence the most adharmic person is undeniable. The problem with us is that we are too stubborn for our own good. We are too stubborn for our own good. We are so stubborn that the most holy and the powerful places cannot do anything to us. Why? We don't allow them to influence our hearts. We don't allow those holy places to transform our minds because we're so stubborn. Most human beings guard the gate of self-growth themselves. They do not allow anyone to enter them and transform them. They only stand there as watchmen, not allowing anybody to enter. We all are so stubborn about that particular gate through which anybody can enter our hearts and create transformation. We're too stubborn for our own good most of the times. Dhritarashtra is actually wondering, do I really know my sons? Are they getting transformed there because of Dharmakshetra? Yeah. That's all he wants to know. He is not interested in anything else. He only wants to know whether my sons have been transformed there. And he wants to know whether the Pandavas, being influenced by the Dharmakshetra, they are giving up their desire to fight. This is the power of a place. When we look at holy places, we should remember the holy place is not holy because of the place itself. The holy place becomes holy because of the collective consciousness that has been deposited in that place. And potentially, your house can become as holy as possible, provided you're ready to work on the collective consciousness that is there. Bhagavad Gita inspires all of us to have Dharmakshetra at our own places. The Bhagavad Gita inspires us to understand that Dharmakshetra is not just a physical place. Yes, there is a physical place called Kurukshetra, which is so many kilometers from Delhi. Yes, there is a physical place called Kurukshetra, which has a station. All that is true. Yes, there is a place where there is a tree under which Krishna spoke the Gita. But that's not the only thing that Bhagavad Gita is speaking about. What Bhagavad Gita is saying is that that place, which is so powerful and potent, can become your house also. Right now, all of you all are sitting in front of your cameras, your laptops or mobile phones, and with a speaker on, hearing the message of the Gita, right? At your own homes. Potentially, by hearing the message of the Gita, this place where you're sitting in can become transformed. The place where you're sitting and chanting the holy names of the Lord, that place can get transformed by the power of the holy names. The environment in which you live can get transformed. by bringing Krishna in the center of your lives. And therefore, do not consider Bhagavad Gita to be a non-applicable history that is from a distant past, somebody else's life. No, there's two parallel things happening in the Gita. One is what is happening there on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Simultaneously, there's something happening in your life, because your life is also a battle. We are all in Kurukshetra, our own Kurukshetras. Somebody is having a war with a husband or a wife. Somebody is having a war on an internal level of the mind. Somebody is having a war with the boss. Somebody is having a war with water. Somebody is having a war with electricity. A lot of people are having war with Wi-Fi nowadays, So we are on a constant battle. Kurukshetra is a reality of our lives. A lot of people are having war with their maids, So Kurukshetra is not something else. It is happening in your life right now. The wars of our life are as real as a war that happened 5,000 years before. And that war may have been a very serious war. It actually costed your life. But the war that we fight may not be that serious a war. But actually, for us, it is serious, isn't it? When you tell your maid problems to your, some person who is staying in a temple or ashram and all, that fellow will laugh. Say, what nonsense? Maid problem you're talking about? But in your life, it's a reality. The day your maid doesn't come up, that's all. Your life is in a standstill, literally. You're in a war zone, literally, isn't it? So Kurukshetra is not just theoretical or impractical past 5,000 years old fight. Kurukshetra is a daily war that happens in your life, small and big. The small and big battles of life. If you are fighting in only Kurukshetra, it's a problem. But when your Kurukshetra can become a Dharmakshetra, then the fight goes to another dimension. It goes to another level. And therefore, you cannot avoid the Kurukshetras in your life. What you can do is you can make those Kurukshetras into Dharmakshetras. When you make your Kurukshetra, that means the battle of war, the battle that you're going to fight, into a Dharmakshetra, there is more meaning to it. There is more substance in that fight. There is a higher perspective in that fight. And there's more depth in that fight. And whether you win or lose, there is great satisfaction in that fight. Therefore, the Bhagavad Gita advises all of us to not allow Kurukshetras to remain adharmic kshetras, but inspires us to make our Kurukshetras into Dharmakshetras. Hare Krishna. I'll stop here. Any questions, comments, discussions, please?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.